Well, this is Algebra 2, topic 2-1, uh, finding slope and graphing lines. This is going to seem very easily, hopefully, because it's all basic Algebra 1 stuff. So I want to go through these pretty quickly. None of this should be new for you. So if you want to go ahead and just work through this and check your answers with the video, that would be fine. But let's go ahead and go through this. We'll want to find the slope given the line containing these points. And so this is just a refresher on the formula for slope. Let's go ahead and put it into practice. xy is a change in y, so 8 minus 2 over the change in x, 4 minus negative 6. Now, here I started with this y on top, and then that y. So I made sure to use this x first, and then that x. This gives us 6 over 10, which simplifies to 3/5. Now, I could have done 2 minus 8 over negative 6 over minus 4, and I would have gotten the same answer. The trick is you want to always make sure you start with the same point. So we're going to talk about number 2. We start with our y's, negative 3 minus negative 3, all over negative 1 minus 2. Well, negative 3 minus negative 3 is 0, over negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. We'll get a slope of 0. Now, you may have noticed that these were the same. If you ever notice that the y coordinates are the same, you will know that your slope is 0. And on for number 3, we have 6 minus negative 3 over 2 minus 2. That equals 9 over 0. We cannot divide by 0, so that means that this is undefined. And if you ever happen to notice that your x values are the same, you'll know that your slope is undefined. So that was just a quick overview of how to use the formula for slope. Let's review slope. Positive slopes go up and to the right. Negative slopes go down and to the right. A zero slope is a flat horizontal line. Make sure that looks flat. An undefined slope goes straight up and down. So you should be able to look at your slopes very quickly and say positive, negative, 0, or undefined. Most importantly, you wanted to be able to double check positive and negative to make sure that you've drawn the slope right or that you've calculated the slope right from a graph. Let's go ahead and review some of our lines. If we're talking about parallel lines, we're talking about lines that have the slopes that are the same. And perpendicular lines, the slopes are negative reciprocals. Okay, that means that we've taken the fraction, we have flipped it upside down, and we've changed the sign on it. So let's go ahead and review these. I'm given some points, and I need to figure out how their slopes are related. So first, I need to find their slopes. 2 minus 1 over 7 minus 4 is 1 over 3. That's for line 1. For line 2, 1 minus negative 2 over 0 minus 1. 1 minus negative 2 is really 1 plus 2 is 3. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So this equals negative 3 over 1. So we look at these, and I go 1 over 3, 3 over 1. So they are flipped. They're reciprocals. The first one is positive, the second one is negative, so they are negative reciprocals, which means that these lines are perpendicular. Or you can just use the symbol like this. It's an upside down T, capital T. And I will know that you're talking about perpendicular lines. Examining problem number 5, we've got the same thing. We're trying to figure out parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So let's take a look. Negative 13 minus 1 over negative 4 minus 3 gives us a negative 14 over a negative 7, which is a positive 2. 5 minus negative 8 over 6 minus negative 1. 5 minus 8, negative 8 is 13. 6 minus negative 1 is 7, which is just 13 over 7. These are very close to being parallel, but they are not. So this would be neither. Okay? The slopes have to be exactly the same in order for them to be parallel. So let's look at example number 6 and see if they gave us some parallel lines here. 36 minus 9 over 8 minus negative 1. Well, 36 minus 9 would be 25 over 9. And then 13 minus negative 8 over 9 minus 2. 13 minus a negative 8 would be really 13 plus 8, which makes 21 over 7, which is 3. So here we have 29 over 5 and 3. These are nowhere near alike, so they are also neither. Now you look at this and you go, well, they can give us a set of parallel lines. It's true. Probably there was a typo and they meant for this to come out to be 14. To do that, they would have needed this to be something a little bit different. Probably either a 6 for this 5 or a negative 9 here. We're just going to deal with the fact that it didn't give us a set of parallel lines and hope that you know parallel lines have to have the exact same slope. But moving on, formulas for lines. We have two main types of formulas. We have the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. That's the one that you're probably most familiar with. And then we've given the standard form, ax plus by equals c. This form is neat and clean. It's not as good for graphing, though I will show you how to graph using these. But first, let's talk about graphing. This time we're using the slope-intercept method, which means I need to find m and b. And this is already written in slope-intercept form. So m would be negative 1/2, and b would be 2. Graph, begin at b, and move with m, negative 1 over 2. You don't need to put as many dots as I'm putting. I like to put lots of dots so that my line is very clear. Pretty straightforward using that method. Let's go ahead and look at number 8. They still want us to use slope-intercept form, so that means we need to solve for y. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. We get that 4y equals 3x plus 24. Divide everything by 4. Y equals 3/4 x plus 6. So my m is 3/4, my b is 6. Begin at b, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move with m, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposite direction. Make sure that I've got plenty of good points. Draw my straight line. So, slope-intercept form, probably the form you're most familiar with. Shouldn't be any questions there. This time we're going to use the intercept method. You probably know this method, but you may not. It's not talked about quite as often. To do the intercept method, you simply plug in zeros. To find the x-intercept, y must be 0. So 3x plus 5 times 0 equals 15. Well, 3x equals 15. Therefore, my x-intercept is at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, for y, you do the same thing. 3 times 0 plus 5y equals 15, which means that 5y equals 15, and y equals 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, given this method, you're only given 2 points. We're not really worried about the slope. You can go ahead and find it. But with 2 points, I can graph a line. So I'm using this other pencil as my straight edge. If I can hold it straight. And so I've got my line. And number 10. X-intercept, we're going to plug 0 into y. So know that 12x equals 16. So x equals 16 over 12, which is 8 over 6, which is 4 over 3. And my y-intercept would be that 8y equals 16. So y equals 2. So 4/3 would be 3/3 is 1. 4/3 is just a little bit past that. And then 2. Now here, I want to make sure that my line is as accurate as possible. So I know before we didn't really much care about the slope. This time I do care about the slope. I want to figure out where to put another point so that my line is accurate. Now, knowing that this is 4/3, I'm going to count by thirds. And counting by thirds, I know that I move 4/3, and then 3/3, 6/3. So I know that I'm moving 6 down, 4 over. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will give me a second point. Well, 6 over 4 is the same as 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You'll notice everything I have makes a straight line. So we're going to go ahead and go with another straight edge. This time I'm going to use the side of a notepad. Makes it just a little bit cleaner. And we have our graph. So, when using the intercept method, not the slope intercept, but just the plain intercept, having the lines in standard form, you just plug in 0, you can solve. Once you get at least 2 accurate points, you can go ahead and just graph your line that way. Well, this should be fairly simple for you. It's easy review. Good luck on your assignment. Have a good day.